This video is sponsored by Premium Sound, one of the UK's premier dealers located in Kensington, London, with an online store carrying a comprehensive inventory to cater for a variety of needs. For more details, click the link in the description. I've used Norelix streaming transport for the last couple of years, so I was sad to learn that they ceased trading at the end of September 2025. But before they closed up shop, I'd already decided to explore what other streaming transports had to offer. I've reviewed plenty of streaming DACs over the years. There's some very good one-box solutions like the Eversolo DMP A8 with a clean, crisp sound, all the connections you could wish for, and a state-of-the-art user interface. The A8 is an ideal choice for many people, but me personally, I wouldn't have it in my system, and that's because I can get better sound quality from external DACs, you may ask. So why not just add an external DAC to the Eversolo DMP A8? And it's not so much that I'm wasting the internal DAC, it's just that there's better sounding streaming transports too. The problem is that most streaming transports are offered by high-end brands that tend to be small companies with limited resources to dedicate to software development. Their expertise is in figuring out how to make a clean sounding streaming circuit, and yes, before someone comments, I don't believe that streaming transports all sound the same. You can spend thousands on a streaming transport and have to put up with a user interface that belongs in the last century, has limited features, and the software crashes periodically. That's what I do. I must be nuts. I could buy a WiiM Ultra for less than £350. It has features, connectivity, and a user interface that will run circles around my high-end streamer, and for the money, it sounds really good. But I couldn't live with the drop in sound quality. Now Eversolo, with relatively huge resources to bear on product development, are reaching for higher demographics. They've launched their first streaming transport aimed squarely at the hi-fi establishment and designed to shake things up. I had to review this. The Eversolo T8 streaming transport retails for £1,280 in the UK. Styling is on brand with solid aluminium casework forming a 3/4 rack width unit, weighing 4.5 kilograms or 9.9 pounds. A 150mm 6-inch high definition colour touchscreen display dominates the front panel. Functionality is replicated on Android and Apple iOS devices by downloading the Eversolo app. I must say it's a joy to interact with, fast and so intuitive that anyone who uses a smartphone will have no trouble navigating. The streaming services you would expect are catered for: Spotify, Tidal, Qobuz, Internet Radio. It's nice to see both Amazon Music and Apple Music, as some competitors leave them out. There are functions for file management, frequency equalization and room correction. I'll discuss some of the more interesting features later. For now, let's move on. Many of the aforementioned streaming services come with apps preloaded for quick access. The Eversolo Control app can be bypassed for those who wish to stream direct via Spotify, Tidal, Qobuz, AirPlay, DNLA, UPnP apps, and the T8 is Roon ready. The cloud menu can be used to access music stored on third-party cloud storage services and local NAS drives. There's plenty to explore in the settings menu, from simply selecting the digital output to choosing the VU meter of your preference. The rear confirms that most users are well catered for. The mission of HDMI ARC, included on many cheaper Eversolo products, may be an issue for some, although it's often excluded from more expensive players focused purely on audio quality. A low-noise SFP fibre optic port reveals Eversolo's intent for the T8 to be used in resolving systems. There's a regular LAN network connection, 2 USB 3.0 ports for fast access to music stored on external hard drives, and digital outputs via USB, AES EBU, optical, Toslink, coaxial and I2S. Internally, the streaming board is neatly laid out. The USB, optical, coaxial and AES EBU digital outputs are all isolated to reduce noise, although Eversolo do not specify whether it's done optically or galvanically. The sensitive ARM quad-core processor, 4GB DDR RAM and 64GB eMMC storage is shielded and hidden under a heatsink. I2S and USB can handle PCM files up to 32-bit 768 kHz and DSD times 5112. Clocking is conducted by Aquasilicon 318B crystal oscillators offering femtosecond precision. The linear power supply has a toroidal transformer, 6 times 6800 microfarad capacitors to do the filtering and 18 times 1000 microfarad capacitors to do the buffering. There are slots on the bottom revealed by removing a latch that allow two 8TB NVMe compatible SSD drives to be fitted. This effortlessly converts the Eversolo T8 from a streamer to a server to access music stored internally. This is a very interesting product, if not to anybody else, at least to me, because if Eversolo have figured out how to make a very good sounding streaming transport, what possible excuse can I have and many other audiophiles for putting up with the mediocre at best user experience offered by many high-end streaming brands? So just how good is it? Well, it's a lot more resolving than streaming DACs below £1,000. I reviewed 3 very popular choices in 2024, comparing the Cambridge Audio CXN 100 to the Eversolo DMP A8 and the now discontinued Bluesound Node X. That market segment took a big step forward later in 2024 when Bluesound launched the £300 Node Nano. This device is cleaner sounding and has a more natural tone than those 3 streamers I previously mentioned, and that's whether you're using it as a streaming DAC through its analog outputs or as a streaming transport through its coaxial and optical outputs. Quite remarkable, really. Thankfully, for Eversolo's sake, the T8 reveals more details and creates a wider and deeper soundstage with superior instrument separation than the Nano. You're getting better performance, not just extra features and a fancy display. I reviewed the Bluesound Node Icon in May 2025. The £899 Icon justifies the extra outlay over its junior Bluesound sibling, but that's more down to the feature count than outright sound quality improvement. The DAC in the Icon is more resolving. Even when it's used just as a transport, it sounds more open, but it's just half a step up in terms of sound quality. The way in which I judge these steps is, if I had the Nano, would I upgrade to the Icon? No, small performance enhancement wouldn't justify the outlay. I would upgrade to the Eversolo T8. It's more money, but the improved fidelity makes it worthwhile. Of course, I'm not comparing apples for apples. The Node Icon is a digital hub with HDMI eARC for easy integration with TVs and an ESS 9039 Q2M based DAC. It provides single-ended RCA and balanced XLR analog outputs. Judged purely as transports, the Eversolo T8 produces the most detail. There are differences in tonality though. The little Node Nano is what I'd call bang in the middle of neutral. The Icon is distinctly warmer sounding, whereas the T8 has a shade of coolness to its presentation. The Eversolo DMP A8 is the streaming DAC that the T8 is loosely based upon, retailing for £1,890. It went back a while ago. I noted that it had great resolution, but a distinctly lean mid-range and some hardness to the upper mid-range. Those traits, although not totally eradicated, are less present with the T8. There's definitely better refinement and perhaps a touch more resolution, although I won't bet on that without having both devices here at the same time. Listen, the DMP A8 is a great one-box solution with HDMI ARC, but if you can live with 2 boxes, go for the T8 and put the £600 saving towards a better DAC. Time for this week's music suggestion. Believe it or not, I do listen to some pop music. It helps if it's a decent recording though. Florence and the Machine, Dog Days Are Over, was thoroughly enjoyable with the T8 integrated into my system. Back to the review, and how does the Eversolo T8 compare to dedicated streaming transports that cost a little bit more? Lumin U2 Mini sells for £1,995. It's almost sonically indistinguishable from the Auralic Aries G1 streaming transport that was my previous reference. It provides greater acoustic mass in the bass and mid-range and a larger sense of scale than the Eversolo T8. Applying the same rationale that I did previously to compare players, the Lumin U2 Mini is half a step up in terms of a logical upgrade path for owners of the Eversolo T8, whereas my current reference streamer would represent the full step. The Volumio Rivo Plus, fed by the Lineo 5 power supply, is a bargain for just under £1,500, offering greater clarity and the ability to peer deeper into recordings. The soundstage also opens up quite a bit. It occasionally freezes and refuses to play tracks. On average, I have to reboot the player a couple of times a week. I can live with that inconvenience, but I know a number of people who can't and would opt for the T8 for that reason. And then there's the additional Eversolo features that are worth considering. The parametric EQ and room correction features that Eversolo offer are going to be of interest to a great many people, but before I get into that, let me comment about system integration. The digital outputs deliver good quality, but that doesn't mean that they sound the same. I2S has the best fidelity, followed by USB, and then the SPDIF outputs, AES, EBU, optical and coaxial, sound the same, but muddier than USB and I2S. The new Gustard R30 is more resolving than my Pontus 15th, but I prefer the tonal balance with Denafrips DACs. The warmth compensates for the slight coolness imparted by the T8 transport. The £690 Denafrips Neo 15th is an excellent partner for the Eversolo streamer, taking performance beyond the DMP A8 for a similar price, although the T8 is good enough to justify spending a bit more on something higher up the Denafrips range. I'm not going to labour points about the various amplifiers and speakers I used. This review is going to be long enough already, so I'll set some general expectations. If you're spending £1,300 on this streaming transport, I'd be looking for DACs up to about the £2,000 price range to pair with amplifiers and speakers that retail for up to about £3,000. The Eversolo T8 has a 10-band parametric EQ. This allows very precise frequency adjustment, altering the frequency point, amplitude and Q, which is the severity of the slope. Eversolo's room correction analyzes and corrects for room modes. It can be used with the Eversolo app and the microphone in your phone, but greater accuracy is achieved by using a calibrated microphone. Room correction can be beneficial for those with compromised speaker and listening positions and suffering from resonances, especially in the bass region. Whether you're using the parametric EQ or room correction, you're adding FIR, fine impulse response filters, into the signal path. There is an impact on sound quality. The more dramatic the change, the severer the filter and the greater the digital artifacts it produces. Okay, enough. Time to summarize things. The Eversolo T8 opens up the appeal of this brand to more discerning music lovers than ever before. As expected, build quality and the user interface are excellent, but this is a very good streaming transport for the money. For performance enhancement and the flexibility when you open up to DACs of your choosing, I'd personally choose one with a little bit of richness to the sound to compensate for the slight coolness that the T8 produces. I may not be ready to ditch my reference player yet, but this first streaming transport from Eversolo shows a lot of promise. The Eversolo T8 gets a highly recommended from this channel. My question for today is, what do you think of your digital front end? Is it one box or two? Have you mixed and matched components to get the sound that you want? Please share your experiences in the comments section. I'm sure you know what to do by now if you want to support me here and what I do. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Check me out on Patreon. There's a couple of tiers you can access there if you think I can help you on your audiophile journey. Also check out the ABA Club on Patreon, which has some great ways to interact with me and fellow Patreons. But for today, for now, British Audiophile, signing off.